No, Monarch's the best structured deck. Monarch! Nah. Dino. Dino's the best structured deck. Buy 3 structured decks, top originals, domain lock. Conductor says Book of Moon. Ether. Book of Moon. Stormforth. Miscellaneousaurus. It's Monarch. Monarch's the best. Guys, chill. We all know there's only one real answer to this. If I bring food, can I be relevant to this conversation? For you today, we've got Salamangreat. Pretty much the most budget deck you can ever get to be relevant in today's format, and to be honest, it's actually been pretty relevant for the past 2 formats, past 2 years since it's come out. I picked up this deck when it dropped. I saw it being played at our regionals when I was playing Thunder, and I was like, actually, you know, yep, that deck looks fun. So I just picked it up, and I've been playing it on and off since. I did play it at a few events. I did do a deck profile for another channel back when it first dropped. Unfortunately, that video has been removed, so I thought, nope, I want some of me on the internet, so we're going to pop that in there. Before we start, guys, just so you're aware, this is missing a key card in the extra deck called Access Code Talker. Don't know if you've heard of it, just because I do not own a small business in Morocco. But there are some budget alternatives that I am playing instead. Access Code Talker, however, is probably the most relevant and optimal part of this extra deck. So if you do want to add that in, obviously please do. Otherwise, let's get on to the main deck. So, obviously starting off, we have got Gazelle. She is still at 1, but we do not mind because we still have loads of ways of searching her. Very simply, if a Salamangreat card is sent to your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. When it's summoned, you can send one Salamangreat card from your deck to the graveyard. A monster spell, or trap. So kind of like Multifaker, but nice and on fire, so I can't really complain about that. Next we have 2 Jack Jaguar, playing 2 because we are playing Desires and we don't want to banish it. Very simply, if it's in your grave, you can send a Salamangreat card from your graveyard back to your deck, or your extra deck to summon it to a zone a Salamangreat monster points to. A link monster, obviously. Kind of nice effect. It also does piercing on 1800, so that's also kind of nice. So if you are pretty late game, you need to get some damage in, you can just punch this over a few defensive monsters, just get a bit of damage in. Next, guys, we have got 2 Foxy. We're only playing 2 because a lot of people play this at 3. I'm going to play it at 2 just because there's lots of other stuff I had to put in the deck and I had to find some space somewhere. This is a pretty good normal sum of the deck, so normal sum it expects top 3, but kind of like Pot Duality adds a Salamangreat card. Think Blue Tang when it's sent to grave with Marine Cells for those of my Marine Cells followers. Otherwise, the more useful effect of if it's engraved and there's a face-up spell trap in the field, you can discard a Salamangreat card, special summon it, and then optional, you can pop a face-up spell and trap. So this is your out to things like there can only be 1 if you've got nothing out. So guys, this is really useful because this is your out to things like there can only be 1. Guys, this card's really useful because this is your out to things like there can only be 1 if you've got nothing else on your board. Maybe it's something like Floodgates for getting you annoyed, or Babel for the Orcus players. Back in that format, if you just needed to basically buy a turn before they could quick effect you. Also pairs with things like Jack Jaguar, you can just discard this to the grave to get going. Spinny, Falco, lots of things you can discard. And also would trigger Gazelle because something was sent to the graveyard. Moving on to Spinny, this used to be like a really great card along with Foxy because obviously we had Mirage Stalio. That's when Mirage Stalio was banned was the last time I played this deck properly for format. Since then it's kind of been like an afterburner sort of thing. I've kind of had it but I haven't really played it. But Spinny was one of my favourites. Spinny could come back to 3 with Dragoon. I'm going to talk about that at the end of today's video. So if you want to see how Dragoon do with Salamangreat, I've been testing that quite a lot. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, it's basically just an extender. If you control a Salamangreat monster, you can discard it. Target a monster on the field against 500. And if you control a Salamangreat monster, you can summon it back from the graveyard. Really nice card. Triggers Gazelle if you discard it just to target a monster. And also it's a free extender. It does banish yourself when it leaves the field when it uses any effect to come back. But can't have everything. Next we have 1 Falco. This could have been like a Foul, but the Falco is the better option. You always want to play at least 1 Falco. You can add a Foul onto side if you want to. This compared with things like Jack Jaguar is basically a rank 4 engine. Otherwise, if it's sent to grave, you can add a spell or trap from your graveyard back to hand. That obviously Salamangreat spell trap. So there's a little bit of recur there. Otherwise, it's just rank 4 fodder, and if you can bounce a Salamangreat monster to your hand, you can special summon it. So you bounce like the Gazelle back to your hand, special summon the Falco, then you got your rank 4. Bear in mind, guys, all of these are dumpable by Gazelle, depending on what you need in the situation. Next, hand traps. We're not going to lie, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. Salamangreat can play a lot of hand traps. It's probably what they are most known for, and also what makes them really relevant. If you can spend up to like 10 or more spaces of your deck onto hand traps, you're probably going to be pretty relevant. 3 Ash Blossom, just most generic hand trap in the game. Can't really complain about that, so does what it needs to do. 2 Ogre. This is for the Numeron build, basically for Numeron, basically because 2 Ghost Ogre. This is here just to basically stop the Numeron play with their field spell, because we are going to go into Numeron Zexal format right about now, to be honest. So this card is really key because obviously it stops their field spell. They still send for cost, so they actually lose a card from the deck. It can be like deck thingy for them, but it's also, I see it as a way of losing that spell card to use. Otherwise, you can hit things like Leader Fiber or Link Cross, maybe to stop those plays, or Auroradon. Those are things you can really hit with this, so I'm not too fussed. 2 Effect Veiler. This used to be 3. This used to be one of the Ghost Ogres, and one of the Ghost Ogres used something else. But Numerons took precedence. Veiler doesn't stop the Numeron play, so we've dropped it down to 2. It's still really good against like rocks and other decks, so we've still got it in there, but it's lost some of its value. Finally, 3 Skullmeister. I love this card. This is something not a lot of people are playing. It's not so good against Numerons, but it is still good against every other deck in the format. Every deck. So, Dino, baby dinos, it just basically stops them dead. Miscellaneous Source affecting Grave, so they can't get the Armadored Armasaur. Basically stops them dead. Block Dragon, when it's sent to Grave, obviously it adds 3 rocks. No, it doesn't, not anymore, because that basically robs Adamancipator of their grind game, which is how we're going to beat Adamancipator. Eldritch, pick your target. It can stop Golden Lord in Grave. It can stop any of the Golden Land traps in Grave. It can stop Jet Synchron in Grave. It can stop everything in the format. Mermail stops Dragoons, stops basically any Mermail effect ever. Orca, so you get the idea. Okay, the only deck that I can think this doesn't touch at all is Pendulum, but other than Triff, who's playing Pendulum. Skullmeister, pick it up, it's a really good card. Is it any good against Numeron? No, so it's just basically a straight side option out. Otherwise, depending on the Numeron version that they're playing, it can be pretty nice. Oh yeah, did I mention it stops Salamangreat? So the mirror match. Forgot about the one deck I'm actually showcasing today. Yeah, it stops like the Jaguar, stops Spinny, stops everything. So it's a really good card. To back up with our hand traps, we're obviously going to play some Cyber support cards. So we've got 3 Lady Debug. I used to hate this card. If you could watch my old deck profile, I played 1. And some of the guys I played against at Chai will remember, if I open this, I would put it away and then play out the rest of my hand. This was back when Gazelles at 3 and Circles are 3. I saw this as the most useless card ever, just because we had so much searchability already. Gazelles at 1, Circles at 1, I have to play it. It's a level 4, so it makes rank 4s. It searches Gazelle. I can't really complain. So it's there. You can play Buffalo, but I used to really like Buffalo. Oh, actually, no, I lie. I used to like none of them. I used to like neither of them. But I just now played Lady Debug because it is level 4. The Buffalo is level 3, which meant you could make a March-Taylor with it, but the level 4 is more useful. Speaking of level 4s, we've got Exceed. Yes, it's level 8, but it becomes level 4. If you link summon, you can special summon this to his own and link monster points to, and then separate chain summon another one from a deck. If you do, they both become level 4, i.e. you get a free Abyss Dweller or a rank 4. You can't really complain. It's a free monster. Next, draw cards. 3 Pot Desires. We're playing 3 just because... We're playing 3 just because I want to draw into as many hand traps as I can, and I basically just want to draw through my deck. To go with that, playing 3 Silent Mining and 1 Circle. So this just gets you basically the card you need. Obviously, the Silent Mining does have discard, so it's a bit worse. Circle, always do it in the draw phase, because you remove draw. No one's playing draw at the moment, but it's just good to get into the habit, especially in things like Spiral format. People are playing a lot of draw, so just basically do it in the draw phase just to make sure you're all safe. You can do it in your opponent's end phase as well if it is set. Maybe you've added it back with Sunlight Wolf for the grind game. You can just get free cards that way. Pot Desires, we've already spoken about. Silent Mining. It's basically debug, but worse. More spells. 1 Sanctuary. This is basically the key card. You play it at 1 because you can just search off Bay Links when it's linked. So that's a link 1. Just instant search this. It does suck when you banish this off Pot Desires, but if you're a good player and you've got loads of luck, it will never happen. So there, it's there. Two Will of the Salamangreat. I was playing 3, but then one of these came out for one of the ogres that you saw earlier in the deck. This will go back to 3 in literally a month, because that's when Dragoon comes out, and this and Spinny will be at 3 because they are very, very good at just turboing out Dragoon for free. Otherwise, this is your protection against like nib, because you can like do your full combo, they nib you, then okay, you activate this, summon back a link, now your Raw and Rage are maybe still live. Probably the Raw, the Rage would just be a 1-for-1 at that point. Sorry, a 2-for-1, which is not actually that good. Otherwise, it is a Monster Reborn. This is either Monster Reborn or Soul Charge, either the two. That is also searchable via Gazelle, so searchable, you can dump it, add it back. This used to be a really good card. It's okay now, and it will probably get better again. Sorry, in the future. Trap cards, 3 imperm, because we want to play even more hand traps. We're playing 13 hand traps in the main. Because we are in a format where if you don't open a hand trap and they resolve Zexal Lock, then you're not doing very well. Before, Zexal Lock used to be for 1 turn with the Pendulum build, you know, the weird Pendulum FDK build that turboed out Zexal Lock that got certain cards banned. Yeah, no, we can just do that for 3 turns now. Yay, Konami. So we have to play 13 hand traps to just even survive going second. Otherwise, it's a really good card. It stops certain key pieces. Again, Needle Fiber, any rock, basically just bits like that. Can't really complain. Finally, 2 Raw, 1 Rage. This is the ratio that I used to play, and I still will play. I did test with 2 Rage for a while, just because all the back row decks like Eldritch and Ultra were coming back. But I'm just playing 1 now because it's so easily accessible. The Raw I love. It's basically Infernity Barrier for those who don't know. It's basically a tribal counter trap. You can yeah, enough said. That was the main deck, guys. We're going to move on to our extra deck now. 3 Balinks. This is what initially made me fall in love with the deck, just the artwork. I love the artwork on Salamangreat. I did say that in my original video, and I still love it now. This is probably my favourite artwork from Salamangreat. It's a cat, it's in a wheelchair, it's adorable, can't complain. 3 Sunlight Wolf. I'm still playing with rares, because that's when I picked up this deck. There was only rares. Its effects, guys. When it's link summoned, you add Salamangreat Sanctuary from your deck to your grave. So you basically just search your field spell for free. That's why we're playing it at 1-off. If it's in your graveyard and a Salamangreat card will be destroyed, you can banish it from your graveyard instead. This does not start a chain. It's not an activated effect, so you can't negate it. Also, you can do this when you're like hit by a counter trap, because it doesn't have to chain to it. So say you're playing a mirror match and someone like roars your Sunlight Wolf, you can just banish this instead. Your wolf would still be negated, but wouldn't be destroyed, which is really nice. Obviously though, guys, it doesn't work on Sending to the Grave, so dinos still ruin your day. Next, guys, we've got 3 Sunlight Wolf. This is probably your go-to link. You saw in my Grim Modu video just before this. This is a Cherries target. That is because Salamangreat really struggle to play a game without this, basically. If you've ever played Salamangreat and you've been Cherries on Sunlight Wolf, you know the pain that I'm talking about. Really simply, if a monster is summoned to a zone it points to, you can add back a fire from your graveyard. So that's Gazelle or Ash Blossom, effectively, which is really, really nice. Otherwise, if it's reincarnated, you can target a spell trap in your grave Salamangreat card, add it back to your hand. So that'll be your Raw, your Rages, most likely. It can be your Wheels to basically get some grind game going, your Circle to get some more searches. There's lots of things you can add back with this. Also, it is up and down, so it does give your opponent a zone, but if they summon, you get to add back the Ash Blossom. It can be really disheartening to your opponent to add back a Ash Blossom every turn, which is obviously very nice. The key thing is, though, guys, you cannot use the card you add back that turn, its effect. So say if you add back Gazelle, you can't then use Gazelle that turn. 2 Heat Leo. Shout out to Farfa. 2 Heat Leo. Basically, on summon, spin back a back row, which is really nice. It does target. Otherwise, you can target a monster on the board and a monster in your graveyard. Basically, that monster on the board becomes the attack of the thing in your grave. So you target your Ash Blossom, your Effect Valiant becomes 0 attack, basically, the thing on board. This used to be part of a really key OTK with Violet Chimera. Yes, that card was played initially in Salamangreat because everyone was playing Salamangreat. So you played Fusion of Fire, which is basically super poly without the discard, and you could respond to it, to go into Violet Chimera with your opponent's stuff. and then you just made this, and then basically just OTK them with that. I loved that idea. Ooh. And you just made this, and then you OTK them like that. I loved that idea. That was probably one of the reasons I really love playing this deck, because I love things that have a really wacky mirror match. Fortunately, that's not really relevant anymore, because not a lot of people are playing Salamangreat as it was. It used to be the most high representative decks ever, because it was obviously a structure deck. But now this is just a Link 3 that we make just to clear our opponent's back row. You don't actually need to make this to win anymore. It's just sort of a spot removal. Your other links, you got one Nightmare Phoenix. You could play Heater. I'm not playing Heater because I took out for some rank 4 options you'll see in a minute. Phoenix again is just spot removal. It's a fire link as well. It used to be really important to have fire attribute monsters in your extra deck because of Mirage Stelio. Now it's not so much. One update jammer, one transcode. This could be like the access code talker. This is fun things you do. You can obviously, if this is sent to grave for a link summon, you can target a link you control. It can attack twice. So the transcode token can attack twice. Anything this is co-linked with can't be targeted, so you can do things like you can bring back a Sunlight Wolf, or with transcode token. Now these can't be targeted. They also gain 500 attack, and again this can attack twice, which is really nice. So there are loads of fun things you can do with transcode talker. Basically, use your OTK enabler. Rank 4's one dweller, the best rank 4 there's ever been. Don't have an ulti yet because my locals aren't open still, but I will be picking up an ulti. Just turns off the grave basically for a turn. One Tornado Dragon, another really nice rank 4. Basically just pop a spell of trap on a board. It's MST and a rank 4. One Bagooska, this is there to deal with rocks. If you know you're going to play against rocks, don't make the dweller, you make the Bagooska in defense and laugh because they cannot do anything apart from maybe make some link summons. If they don't open enough extenders to basically play through the Bagooska, so that's the petting and maybe the 10 Yi, the Earth 10 Yi, if they're playing that, they might be able to play through it, but otherwise it's pretty much an instant win con. And finally, one Ignister. This is basically Dingirsu, but a rank 4, which is actually really useful, and I like this a lot. I don't know if I'll be keeping it in for the Zexal format. I haven't really tested this in Zexal format so much. It's probably been last format against Eldritch I played this in. But it's alright. If need be, this can just be changed out for a Zexal, and you can size some cherries like I was in my Grandmagia build, guys, just because it is, again, the Zexal format. That card is going to be a real pain. Otherwise, if a card be destroyed, a detach one, you can summon back a Cyburst link from your extra deck if it battles and it destroys a monster by battle. So yeah, it's kind of like Dingirsu. If a card would be destroyed, you can detach one instead. That's not so important because we have Balinks for protection. You can detach one and destroy monsters your opponent controls up to the number of Ignisters. It doesn't target, so it's kind of like Ding in that sense, although it does destroy. So basically pops one because you've got an Ignister on field. And if a Cyburst monster... inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target a link in your graveyard to special summon it. Really nice card, really nice effect. It's just pretty good. I don't know if it'd be any good in the 6 format, but for what it's worth so far, I like it. Side deck, as again, always guys, side deck, make up your own. You can do whatever you like. Mine is just merely a suggestion. Free Token Collector, literally my favourite hand trap at the moment when Synchro Eldritch is the theme, because you just drop this on them and they cannot play at all. It also stops Nibiru, so if you do this in their turn against like rocks when they go for a link cross or something like this, or the O-line, it really stops them dead and they can't Nibiru you in your turn because neither player can summon tokens. So yeah, guys, this is important because if they go for the Synchro route and maybe the O-line tokens or the link cross tokens, as soon as they summon some tokens, you can special summon this. It gets rid of every token on the board, and once on board, neither player can summon tokens. Key thing is, even if it goes to grave, it can come back from the grave. It's not only from hand, it's from grave as well. So this will always stay. I was playing against an Auroradon player once, and this did not go away. I played it in my Marine Cess deck, and I'm playing it in Salamangreat. Other hand traps, free Nibiru, just for those decks that do care about Nibiru. Some decks obviously play around it now, but it's still a really good card just to keep those in check. Free Cosmic Cyclone, Altergeist and Eldritch are still a thing, and maybe Mystic Mind, so we're just playing some spell and trap removal. Not a lot of spell and trap removal because we have Salamangreat Rage, which is basically just pop like up to 2 without targeting already, so that's nice. Free Evenly Matched, just basically either blow out a board of back row or blow out a board of monsters if you bait all their gates. Can't really complain about that. And then finally, 3 Book of Eclipse. It's kind of there to deal with Dragoon when that inevitably comes out. I shouldn't really be building a deck for a month in advance, but this is also really nice against rocks. Because if they maybe make a board of extenders, you can activate this before they start link summoning, and then they've got nowhere to go. My stomach. Ooh. So yeah guys, this is my side deck. Again, feel free to make your own. Please comment below what you think I should side deck or any changes you would recommend for this deck. I haven't really played it that extensively since, what was it? Since Mod Stalio got banned, so that was what, 2019 I think? Maybe 2018, I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. So yeah guys, that is my side deck. Any suggestions, please comment below. What would you side for Zexal format? Maybe, like I said, you can side some cherries. So the Book Eclipse could be 3 Winter Cherries, and you just swap the Ignist out for a Zexal, just to make sure, again, we do not lose to that lock. And then if you play a Salamangreat mirror match, you can obviously cherries the Sunlight Wolf, which is a really nice bonus. Otherwise, guys, please like and subscribe. We're so nearly getting to 300 subscribers, which will be a huge boost. I'm one of those wacky people who don't really like make you subscribe every video, like and subscribe, blah blah blah, Team Sam, explosions. I'm just a guy who's in his room making deck profiles for you guys to enjoy. Otherwise, see you next time, guys. Goodbye.